dude like myself. So I'm actually 6'3", and as you can see, there's still a decent amount of headroom. This is a 2005 Dodge Viper, low miles. I picked it up a couple months ago. I've had Corvettes my entire life. I started with Mustangs. I had a V6, a GT, a Saleen, and then 3 Corvettes. One made like 380 horsepower, one was like 410, and the last one was supercharged on 8 pounds, actually 9 pounds, and it made 640 to the wheels. It was tuned by Redline Motorsports here in Pompano Beach. So I picked up this 05 because as a kid, I've always wanted a Dodge Viper, and this one just happened to come up for sale. It wasn't that far from me, and I ended up driving about an hour to pick it up. So far I'm in love with the car. It's very different than a Corvette, and I'll say that Corvettes are very comfortable. I think this car is very different. I think it rides more like a go-kart, which is weird because I guess this car was like close to like $80,000 or something like that. I expected it to be like very comfortable and all that, but it's a race car, you know what I mean? It really is a race car, and it feels like one. The transmission's awesome. This car has a Hurst shifter, so it's actually very short throw, very solid shifts. If I compared it to my last car, the Corvette that made 640 to the wheels, this car is quick, but it makes its power very different. I guess you can feel the torque down low on this car versus the Vette was a little bit different. I think the car is roomy enough. This car has adjustable pedals for someone my size. If you're looking to get into a Viper, it's not a big deal. I was really nervous. I thought I was gonna have to buy a lowering seat kit, and as soon as I picked it up, and I was like, I just hope I can get the car home. I'm like, that's my only goal. But it's not bad. I ended up not even installing the seat lowering kit. I didn't really need it. So miles per gallon is not terrible. In the city, this car is rated for like 12, but on the highway it's rated for 22 miles a gallon. And I also had a Jeep Wrangler on like 36 by 15 5s, lifted up and all that, and that thing got on the highway 10.6 miles per gallon. So I'm actually doing okay. It's not bad. The sun's about to turn. We're making a right, so it's gonna be a lot easier now if you guys want to see something. But this car has an exhaust on it. It's got a K&N. The original owner told me to be wary of the K&N because what happens is the way the filters are attached, they sometimes come off the housing. So it's not a big deal. I mean, I've had it happen once, and what I noticed is the previous owner didn't really tighten it hard enough. So I mean, I redid that, and so it should be a lot better than now. So one thing I do want to talk about that I noticed on this car is it does get a lot of heat in the footwells. It does get a lot of heat in the footwells. So to combat that, this is like the only car that I had to run the AC on the legs and the head, the upper body. Usually I just run the upper body when I'm in a car. But with this, it's not bad. Like if you put your hand down there, you can actually feel really cold air coming out. So I mean, it's not terrible. You know what I mean? It's definitely gotten a lot better. Before I used to kind of not like this car too much because it was really hot on especially on the highway if you're cruising for a while. So another thing I want to talk about, so on this car it's really weird. So the previous owner actually told me, he's like, I've never actually used 6th gear, and I was like, what do you mean? And he goes, yeah, I've never had to. And I was like, okay, that was really interesting to me. And what he said is he said the way this car is made, 6th gear, it's got 3.07 gearing. So as you can imagine, I think you can go to like 60 miles an hour in 1st gear. And by the time you wind it out, like when you're in 5th, you're cruising at 80 at like, I don't know, 2 grand. So when you switch to 6, I'm cruising at 80. I look down and I'm cruising at like 1400 RPM. You know, the car is barely working to keep up with the speed, you know? And so that's actually a really nice thing, but it just feels really weird. It's something to get used to, because I've never had a car that will cruise, you know what I mean, in 6th gear at 80, barely idling, barely above idle, which is really weird. The good thing about this car and what I liked is the soft top on it is not power, and that's one thing I was looking for. I don't like power soft tops just because they have issues after a while. I had a Mustang GT that was convertible, and after a while it just starts, you know, little things here and there, you know, sensors go off, top doesn't want to go down, blah 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 blah. So this one's really easy. You just pop the trunk, you get outside, you pop the trunk, and there's one handle here, you drop it down and it just lowers back, which is actually really nice. What else can I tell you guys? So I did replace the radio in this car, just the head unit so far. I still have to do the subwoofer down here. So this is really weird. Right here is a 6.5 inch Alpine sub, and up here it's a port, so it's a ported sub. But because it's only a 6.5, it doesn't make much bass at all, and I guess this one over time started rattling, you know. So that's gonna be my next project. From what I understand, the Kicker CVT is a perfect fit, so that's gonna be the next thing I do to it. Let's see what else I can talk to you guys about. One thing I'm impressed about is actually, it is the acceleration. Once you get to like the upper RPM range, after like 4 grand, it actually pulls very, very hard. I do have a motorcycle. I drive a Suzuki Hayabusa, and compared to the Hayabusa, it's not as fast, but you definitely feel the power of this car compared to many others, and definitely my Jeep Wrangler. It has an 18-gallon gas tank, so it's not bad on fill-ups. You know what I mean? You put in like, I put in like $30-some every single time, which is not a big deal. It does get a lot of attention, you know, so if that's something you're looking for, then, you know, this is the car for you. So far it's been really reliable. It does take 10 quarts of oil, so be prepared for that, but changing the oil is nothing special. You know, don't go to like an exotic car dealer and they'll tell you it's going to be like $700 to change an oil. You know, it's not. It's going to cost you $100 and you're going to be done with it. If you have any questions, just let me know about the car. I actually love it a lot. If you have any specific questions, being that I am a big guy, you know what I mean? But actually, I don't know if you saw me, it looked like I just misshifted, but the one annoyance of this car is that it does have the 1 to 4 bypass of the shifter. So if your RPM is really low and you're slowly accelerating and you want to shift, it will block you out of second and third and force you to go into fourth, which is really, really annoying. They do, I guess that was for EPA. My Corvette had it as well. I had it removed in the tune. So that's gonna be my next step on this car. I'm gonna get it removed. Other than that, I have no real annoyances with the car. It drives great. I mean, I've taken it on maybe 200-mile trips here and there. You know, no big deal. That's it. Thank you guys for watching. If you have any questions, just let me know.